guys, so today's video is going to be our 6th Crabitat review. This series is going to continue on through the end of the year, and then we will reevaluate and maybe possibly start a new series, maybe continue this one. Again, these videos come out on the 1st of every month, and believe it or not, I've actually been able to be consistent for once. Anyway, let's just jump right into this video. So our first Crabitat is a 10-gallon. They have 5 inches of eco-worth, and they just got the crabs, so they're looking for some advice and some care tips. So to start off with, this is a very nice first Crabitat. Well done. I see that you have all of the basics here. There's food, there's water, there's stuff to climb on, there's stuff to hide in, and you have some extra shells. So this is really, really great as a first starting Crabitat. I like the hiding place because, yes, while it's not very fancy, it's not very expensive, it is something that is a very good, safe option for hermit crabs that they will enjoy because it is nice and dark. So this could either be, I'm not sure if it's a plastic container that was cut, or maybe it's one of those snake hides. Either way, it's a good, solid, cheap, inexpensive way to give your hermit crabs somewhere dark. All of the shells that you have a D-shaped opening, which is very specific to Ecuadorian crabs. Those are the ones that prefer those types of openings. And so if you don't have Ecuadorians, they probably won't change into those shells. For anyone who's a bit confused about the different types of shells, sizes, where to buy shells, I answer all of those questions in my last video, so I recommend you go watch that if you're unsure. Judging by the size of the current shells that you have in here, I do recommend deeper substrate. You want the substrate to be 3 to 4 times deeper than your largest crab. Another thing is the water dishes. They do look deep enough for a crab to fully submerge, but they do also look kind of slick, like a crab could get stuck in them and not be able to climb out easily. One way that you can test that is just to put the crab in the water and see how long it takes for them to get out, or if they can even get out at all. Obviously, if they're struggling, then you're going to need to help them and find a better solution. If your crabs can get out of these dishes, then I think they will work just fine. Overall, I'd say this is a great first Crabitat with lots of good, safe options for your hermit crabs. Our next Crabitat is roughly 77 gallons, and it houses 5 Aussie hermit crabs. They also have UVB lighting, which is on a 12-hour timer. Now, UVB lighting is not necessary for hermit crabs, but it has been shown to be very beneficial. UVB lighting is different from normal lighting in the sense that the UVB rays are exactly the same as the sun, and so it's much more natural for the hermit crabs and for many species of reptiles. For hermit crabs in particular, UVB lighting has been shown to give them brighter colors and make them more active. So here is the Crabitat, and it looks wonderful. This is a really nice tank. I like all of the deep substrate, and you can also see the humidity on the walls. And this isn't necessary to have good humidity, but it is a good indication that the humidity is high enough. So in this photo, you can see there's a nice moss pit in the back, and in the front we have a wide variety of food, all different kinds of food. It looks like you have grains, proteins, I see some insects. That is a great, awesome variety of food that hermit crabs should have as part of their normal diet. This Crabitat also has a hamster wheel, and I've actually seen these a lot lately. They're becoming more common, and it's just an extra form of enrichment for the hermit crabs. I actually got one myself recently, and the crabs haven't really figured out how to use it yet, but eventually there will be a video talking about the hamster wheel and hopefully showing them on it. There are also some really, really nice pools in this Crabitat. Very easy in and out access for the hermit crabs. You can see too that the pool containers are doubled up, and the main reason for this normally is that it makes it significantly easier to clean out the water. The reason for this is that when you take the pools out, then you don't have sand crumbling in and falling in where the pool was. There is also a great variety of natural and beautiful shells. So our next one includes 3 purple pincher hermit crabs that have been owned for 9 or 10 years. They currently do not have any space to upgrade the tank, and they want to know how they could make it better without upgrading the space. So here is the tank, and by the looks of it, it is a 10-gallon probably, which again is not big enough for 3 hermit crabs. You really would want to upgrade them, but if that is not currently an option, the best thing would be to give them as much of a second level as possible. You could add in a coconut climbing background, which gives the crabs a lot more space. You could also do shell shops or moss pits up in the air. There's lots of different options that could help your crabs be able to utilize all the space in the tank that you currently have. The climbing area that you have now, the mesh, is a good start. However, the crabs probably won't use it a lot. They won't spend a lot of time up, such as if they had a hiding place or moss or something along those lines. So one of your pools is very deep and it has a very easy in and out access for the crabs. That pool looks great. The other one is not as deep, and so I would recommend that you make that one the same as the other. I get the idea might be to save space, but once you make more of a second level, that shouldn't be an issue, and it would be really beneficial for the crabs to have both of those nice deep pools. I also like that you have a nice wide variety of fresh food for the crabs. So our next Crabitat is home to one hermit crab named Spike. He lives in a 5-gallon tank, and the owner will be upgrading soon. So one question I often get asked is if it's better to have less crabs or maybe even one crab if you don't have enough space, or to overcrowd them in a tank that's too small. And I would definitely say it's better to have less crabs if you don't have enough space. I would rather have a crab that's temporarily lonely until you upgrade than to have a bunch of crabs and have them fight and potentially hurt or cannibalize each other. Anyway, here is the 5-gallon, and it has all of the basics. It has plants, it has climbing areas, hiding areas, a heat mat, and thermostat, hydrometer, and I can't see the food and water dishes, but I can assume that they are there in the back. So overall, this is a good tank. It has all of the basics. Again, this tank is too small for more than one hermit crab, so I would recommend getting them upgraded at least to a 10-gallon, so then you could have 2 crabs as soon as possible. I see that you are using the plastic wrap method to try and keep in humidity. However, this eco-earth is still very, very dry, and so you will have to use some other techniques to get it humid enough, and I recommend that you watch my video all about humidity. I will leave it up above as well as down in the description. Next, we have a 29-gallon Crabitat, which houses 4 hermit crabs, and they have owned the hermit crabs for 2 years now. So this Crabitat has a coconut climbing wall along the whole back, and that's really great because hermit crabs love this stuff. It's very easy for them to climb, and it's a good way to maximize the space in your tank. There's also cholla wood, lots of plants, and we have a good variety of fresh food. I see some moss, some cork bark, and also the pools look very nice as well. There's also a good variety of not only sizes, but different types of shells. This gives the hermit crabs a lot of different options as far as the type they like, if they like heavy shells, light shells, or different sizes. Lots of good options. The only thing I question about this tank is that I don't see a lid on it, and maybe this was just done for the photo, but the crabs could most definitely climb out on that background. Plus, it does not keep in humidity, so hopefully this was just done to take the photo. Our next tank is a 15-gallon that houses 2 hermit crabs, so perfect size. There are plans to upgrade the tank, make it a second level, and currently they are feeding them dried fruit, lettuce, coconut, broccoli, and hermit crab pellets. So here is the Crabitat, and this is one of those tanks that I've mentioned before I really like the look of. It has lots of browns and different shades of greens that make it look very natural and neutral colored. I just really like Crabitats like this one. It has lots of good plant cover in the background for hermit crabs to climb and hide in. There's also a little cave that looks pretty interesting. It looks like the crabs would like to be in there. The water dishes look nice and deep. They have plants in them so that the hermit crabs can easily climb out. One of the things I think could be improved is the shell situation. I only see 2 extra shells, which definitely is not enough for 2 hermit crabs. You want to give them a nice wide variety. So that would be something I recommend you add when you make the second level. You could do a shell shop up in the air. As far as the hermit crab pellets go, I personally do not feed any commercial food, and most people nowadays try to avoid commercial hermit crab food. The reason for this is just that a lot of hermit crab foods contain preservatives and stuff that's just not natural for the crabs. However, there are a couple decent kinds that can be fed to hermit crabs, and so I will leave a link down below to crab safe ones. Our final hermit crab tank for today is a 10-gallon that houses 2 hermit crabs, and currently one of them is separated in a separate. So here is the Crabitat, and this one wins today for the most colorful. There are lots of different colorful tropical plants, and it's actually a very big sized piece of coral in the back. There's some more coral in the front. Very, very tropical looking. Not sure why, but this Crabitat actually has 3 pools, it looks like. They're all a very decent size. You can actually see that the one crab is in the pool right now. They're all very nice pools. I see 2 big hiding places. There's a coconut and a log, so those are good. Again, there's lots of nice fresh food and some moss. Similar to one of the last Crabitats we looked at, I would recommend more shells and maybe making more of a second level for the crabs to have more space. I see there is kind of probably a homemade netting right now, but I bet if you put a shell shop up on the top, the hermit crabs would be much more likely to go up there and use that second level space. The only other thing I would add to this tank is deeper substrate. Right now it's just a couple inches, and that definitely is not deep enough for the hermit crabs to molt. Anyway guys, thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you with another one next month.